So in this video I want to do a sort of very brief tour of the sorts of functionality within Microsoft Dynamics 365 for Sales that the marketing team need to be aware of. So let's go to the system and I'll show you what I mean. So let's start off with the very basics. So we've got on the navigation bar on the left hand side here, got these two areas: contacts, people, and accounts, organizations. So these are our sort of core records within the system. It tells us information about those individuals and the people they work for typically. And as a marketer, I'm going to want to segment my database typically because if I can get good segmentation in my database, my mailings and my campaigns can be more targeted. The more targeted they are, the more relevant they are, the more interest they generate, the more leads they generate, and the fewer opt-outs we get coming in. So if I just go into a random contact record, these are the out-of-the-box fields, but obviously you can capture whatever data that you want, and it's a balancing act really. Particularly if you're capturing that data manually, you just want to make sure that we are getting the data, the key things we need to be able to segment the database on, that we are capturing that within the system. But we're not trying to ask for too much because that's going to put undue burden on the people gathering it, for example the sales team, and if we're asking for lots and lots of data, they're probably not going to do it. So that's number one, our core bread and butter record types, contacts and organizations, contacts and accounts. The next area we need to think about is marketing lists. Marketing lists are a very powerful way of mining the system data to create a list that we can use for a campaign, and typically these marketing list functionality is integrated with, say, mass email tools to be able to sort of disseminate targeted mailings. And you've got two types of marketing lists. I'm in the marketing lists area here. You can see I've got two types. One is static, one is dynamic. The dynamic ones are you effectively set the rules, and anything that falls within those rules goes into the list. So it's kind of hands-free, if you like. And then we've got the static list, which is you decide what goes into that list, and you've got all sorts of tools for mining the data. Now, I'll just go into one of these very quickly. I'll show you what I mean. This is a dynamic test dynamic marketing list. If I go to the manage members area, you'll see we've got these sort of criteria, and we can add to these criteria. We can make these as complex as we want. We can have multiple criteria for mining our list. We can base that list creation based on related records or statements, all sorts of powerful things that we can do. So we've got the tools there to be able to build our marketing lists. So again, an absolutely core area from a marketing perspective. So let's just touch on a couple of other areas here. We've got campaigns. Now campaigns, I say probably the primary use for campaigns is to track your marketing campaigns and being able to assign leads and opportunities to those campaigns so we can start to get a flavour of campaign return on investment. But they also have a use in terms of being able to track things like campaign costs, to be able to bulk generate activities for campaigns. Now those could be emails, it could be things like phone follow-ups. We've also got the ability to track things like campaign responses, which is kind of interest in a campaign that sort of falls slightly below the sort of opportunity level. And we've also got the ability to use things like campaign planning activities to plan our campaigns and sort of coordinate activity on campaigns. So that's what a campaign record does. We've also got this area here called quick campaigns, and quick campaigns is a much simpler version. Quick campaigns is a means of bulk generating activities, and I say those could be emails, they could be tasks, they could be phone calls, they could be meetings. It's quicker and a little bit more intuitive than using campaigns, but it's a kind of a variant on it. So the next things we need to be aware of are these areas of leads and opportunities. So we've got this leads area within the system. Now typically you're going to have the leads area integrated to, say, your various landing pages, your contact us page on your website, any landing pages you've got set up. Those are sort of pushing leads into the system, and the idea of the leads area, it's sort of it's a holding area where you can sort of review and validate those leads before they're committed to the system and become records within the system as contacts, accounts, or opportunity records. So it's quite an important sort of staging area for you to review, cleanse, improve the data before it's committed to the database. but it is an area that allows you to track the origin of your leads as well, which again is going to help with your sort of campaign return on investment. Leads in turn can be converted to opportunities. Opportunities are our later stage lead, if you like. This is what we're going to track through the system through to the project being won or the deal being done. And again, we can sort of link opportunities back to specific campaigns and sources and sort of start to track the return on investment from our marketing expenditure. Related to that, we've also got an area here called products. So within the system, we can track all the products and services that we're selling, and we can also have price lists associated with those that are managed within the system. We can have multiple price lists for the products held within the system. So this can be a very powerful way of tracking your leads and opportunities against a particular set of products. The next area I'd like to touch on is sales literature. Sales literature is, if you like, a sort of storage area within the system, and that allows you to track all your sort of sales and marketing literature in one place, and to be able to make sure that you're making the most up-to-date versions available, and you're not sort of allowing salespeople necessarily to be sort of spending time hunting for things like white papers, competitive profiles, pricing, things like that. It's all in one place, and it's all up to date, and it's the current version, and it's what you want people to get ready and easy access to. The next area I would just want to quickly touch on, if I go back to my contacts, is the concept of templates. So if I go into Yvonne's record here, again, this is all test data. Before I do that, by the way, if you have got a dynamic CRM and you feel you want to get more out of it, then step back, cut, just go back a little bit. Before I do that, if you have got Microsoft Dynamics 365 for sales and you're looking to get more out of it and you want some guidance on the next best steps to take, then feel free to reach out. I'll put some links below. Always happy to have a chat with people about their particular situation. Anyway, let's go into the system and I'll show you what I mean in terms of templates. So at the top here, within the activity timelines, I've got the ability to create activities within the system. If I click on plus, I can generate an email. And when I do that, you can see on the top here, I've got the option to insert a template. So I can, if I click on the right area, so I have got a series of templates that are set up within the system. So if I just select one of these, you can see how that appears. Now, templates are really quite an interesting area. Not everybody's brilliant in terms of as a wordsmith and crafting the perfect email. So often you can sort of set up a bank of templates in the back end of the system that allows people to just choose the right email message to sort of send out. It's a really sort of powerful way of speeding things up for people, but sort of controlling the messaging that goes out to clients, potential clients. So again, templates is something that you probably want to be aware of. The next piece I'll just touch on, and one of the last pieces I'll touch on, is the advanced filters capability within the system. Now these are available on any record type within the system, and you've got this area here, well, two areas that are relevant here. You've got an area called edit columns, which is the columns, the data that's displaying, and then the edit filters capability. So if I just choose something like active contacts and I just go to edit filters, you can see there is a single very simple filter applied to that, status equals active. But I can keep adding to that. I can build up really complex filters to be able to mine the data in the system. I can really search by any field on a contact, any combination of fields on a contact, the record I'm looking at the moment, but also on related child data, related parent data. And I can build complex queries using things like OR statements. Effectively, I can pretty much mine any data from the system. It's a really powerful tool. If you're part of the marketing team, if you've got that skill set, then without having to go to the IT team for help, you can sort of query and analyze data held within the system. So it's a really useful skill to have. And finally, I'd just say pretty much any marketing process potentially could be supported within the system. Now, the system doesn't out of the box do support for events and event attendees, but it's something you can easily build in that. So if I just go into the back end of this, or just quickly search for events, I haven't got them on my side menu because this is something that I created just as an illustration. So I've got this concept of events, and I've got, sorry, I didn't mean to go into the filters there, I've got RB test event here, and I've got some basic information. This is just a sort of proof of concept, something I built within a few minutes. And I'm also tracking the event attendees for that. So it just goes, so the Dynamics environment is really flexible. It can be adapted to a wide range of uses, and just because your core marketing processes may not be obviously supported by the out-of-the-box system doesn't mean you can't accommodate them fairly readily just by tuning the system to meet those requirements. Anyway, hopefully that's a sort of helpful sort of lightning tour of the marketing related functionality with Dynamics 365 for Sales. And I will put a link to a marketing, and I will put a link to a playlist below, which has got some more detail on some of the topics that we've covered. Anyway, hopefully that's been helpful. As I say, if you need any help with Microsoft Dynamics, feel free to reach out. Also, if you've got any suggested content ideas, there's a link for that below. Anyway, thanks very much for your time today, and hopefully see you again soon.